Adol Kristen, the protagonist of Falcom's long-lived East series, is a real adventurer's adventurer. He's been drifting from place to place since his journey began on Japanese PCs in 1987, collecting tales, meeting new people, and getting caught up in town's supernatural business. In East 9, Monstrum Nox, Adol blows into the town of Balduke and discovers a particularly dark secret seething in its depths. His trouble is our gain. East 9 is yet another deeply satisfying action RPG starring the red-haired swordswinger, and it avoids feeling like just more of the same thanks to new abilities that invite gravity to take a hike. Unlike more serialized RPGs such as Trails of Cold Steel, it's easy to jump into Ys games because the story is mostly self-contained. This one is no different. Adol finds himself a fugitive with a curse on his head and a new badass wardrobe to go along with it. There are plenty of in-jokes for returning fans, but that's all you need to know before getting on with the energetic monster killing. The character designs are all top-tier ridiculous anime fun, and Adol's battle skills look pretty sweet in motion. Ys 9 is an action RPG that looks and plays much like 2016's Ys 8, an excellent game itself. While Ys 8 added a whole new literal dimension to the series by bringing it into the 3D realm, 9 doesn't have the same level of novelty, but it does feel familiar, in a good way. Hacking up foes across sprawling plains, ancient ruins, and lava-filled caverns to name a few is a good deal of satisfying fun, even if the environments outside of town are a bit visually bland. Fans of Musou games like Dynasty Warriors will probably find themselves right at home. But like Dynasty Warriors, the combat in Ys 9 isn't particularly deep or challenging, and Ys 9 is a pretty quick game by JRPG standards as a consequence. Its main story takes about 30 hours, though you can add a few hours by collecting all its knickknacks, which can be used to upgrade weapons and create gifts for various characters, and exploring every bit of its map. For more of a challenge and a deeper game, you'll want to crank up the difficulty. You still aren't going to get Souls-like battles or anything, but the harder monsters encourage you to learn patterns and use the cool and satisfying flash guard parry that slows down time after a perfect dodge. Ys 9 throws in some variety with a series of base defense minigames called the Grimwald Nox. These pit you against waves of twisted demon attackers, and you can spend resources you've collected to set up traps and sentries to snag them as they charge, and then jump in to hack up what's left. In a rewarding touch, characters you've rescued in side missions can show up to lend a hand with combat and healing. It's not a deep take on tower defense gameplay, you can't freely position your traps for instance, but cutting down hordes of enemies and collecting loot feels pretty good. And yes, we saw most of these ideas in Ys 8 previously, but the intensity of these fights add to Ys 9's challenge. One issue with Ys 9 is that its progression doesn't feel as natural as it did in Ys 8. In the latter, you collect castaways who help you clear away major obstacles, whereas the former simply throws up blockades that you have to clear via Grimwald Nox missions. Easily, the coolest new feature of Ys 9 are the gifts that make traveling around the world much easier and more fun, like a far-reaching zipline and the abilities to hover and run straight up walls. Adol has basically become anime Batman in Ys 9, and that's awesome when it comes to reaching high up spaces and levels that are much more vertically laid out than those of Ys 8. All that zipping around does make it easy to notice some of Ys 9's graphical problems, including texture pop-in and frame drops on PS4 in certain areas of Balduke, but it's nothing too rough. Ys 9 looks, plays, and sounds similarly to Ys 8, an already awesome foray into the world of Ys, but its emphasis on story and new movement abilities like grappling, gliding, and wall running gives it a flavor all of its own. Better still, action RPG fans who've long been Ys curious can jump into Ys 9 without fear of missing out on the ongoing story. The Court of the Crimson King welcomes all adventurers, new and old. For more, check out our reviews of Persona 5 Strikers and Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood. And for everything else, stick with IGN.